And Mary Elizabeth Coleridge wrote a poem titled I Saw a Stable. I Saw a Stable. It came to mind this week because whilst I first heard it a few years ago, I didn't really get it, though it made an impression which never really went away. It goes like this. I saw a stable, low and very bare, a little child in a manger. The oxen knew him, had him in their care. To men, he was a stranger. The safety of the world was lying there, and the world's danger. The world's danger. And the world's danger. And that's the bit that trips me up, and the world's danger. But reading the gospel reading for this week, something hit me which never had before. Something hit me which never had before. When King Herod heard this, that the King of the Jews had been born, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And all Jerusalem with him. Why? Herod, we could understand, for reasons we've outlined before. Puppet king under Rome, dodgy heritage, unpopular, murderous tyrant. He's got it all. But what about the rest? What about the rest? All Jerusalem, frightened. You know, maybe that's a way of referring to the elite of Jerusalem, which Herod then calls together. But the Greek literally reads, all Jerusalem. Why would all the populace of Jerusalem be afraid? Did they sense danger? Did they sense danger? Did the mention of the birth of a king mean that they inferred war and conflict was on the horizon? Was it the realization that change was coming? But uncertainty as to how that would look and what would be expected, demanded of God's people in response. We're going to come back to that. We'll come back to that. There is this moment, right? There is a moment, a wondrous, glorious moment, when we celebrate the birth of Jesus and everything is good for a moment. And I say that with an assumption that is true for most of us, but now we celebrate a blue Christmas to acknowledge the blue feelings that we have around the season. But it is important, it is really important to claim those moments of lightness, even if it's a bit sentimental and nostalgic, and keep the core of it central, which is the unique revelation of God's self in the Christ child. Have that moment, claim it and enjoy it. But then, what do we do about it? What do we do about it? What is our response? Like the Magi made their journey and brought their gifts and devotion, how do we make our devotion? And what is our gift? What is our gift? Just look and consider the manger set up here and what it signifies. You can come in during the week and pray before the manger and reflect. There is immense safety there. Immense safety. Great relief and comfort in God's gift to us. That is all true. And there is danger. And danger. Danger for Herod. And if we were to extrapolate in that pattern, we can recognize others for whom there is danger in the revelation of Jesus. If you follow world news, I look with horror at places like Afghanistan and Iran, where, the absence of a Y chromosome means also the absence of liberty, dignity, education, safety. And I hold the bravery of the women and girls and their allies in those places with an esteem that is genuinely hard to articulate. And the men and the particular religious, cultural and political structures that allows such gross violation of human persons, there is danger for them in this revelation. There is danger. The revelation that Jesus brings, the light which his person and ministry shines on their deeds, and the frameworks which give rise to those deeds, there is danger for them. And there are dozens of places in the world, dozens, beset by conflict and oppression, where, to quote the bard, powers and principalities have decided to cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war and unleash great suffering. And there is danger for them in this revelation. In a different vein, this past year we had the FIFA World Cup. Australia did pretty well. It's good. The US-based late-night show host John Oliver did a great segment on the hugely problematic aspects of that event. As great as the event is, you can find it on YouTube. Because in the lead-up to the Cup, there was quite a bit of media coverage which exposed what was going on in Qatar about really appalling work conditions in brutal heat, using labourers from India, Bangladesh and the like, paid a pittance, if that, to build almost a dozen amazing, glamorous new stadiums. By some estimates, 6,500 workers died in the lead up to the Cup due to their working conditions. It's an amazing sporting event, sure, it is. But the cost in lives alone, the corruption, exploitation, that gets lost once the first whistle blows. The Christ child, as I see it, offers danger to those in power who so callously and cheaply treat the lives of other children of God. In the cultural West, in my observation, the rise in openly fascist political movements that are subversive of democracy, nakedly anti-Semitic and racist, is hugely alarming. And it's especially galling when such movements like to dress themselves up with a Christian veneer. Danger. Danger. And then again, safety. Safety. Because in Jesus, God came to save the world, not to condemn it. John 3:17. God came to save the world. God is in this baby. How do we respond? How would all those people I mentioned respond if confronted with the baby Jesus in the flesh 2,000 years ago? Like Herod? Afraid of what would be exposed and challenged? The truth is, though, none of us are really off the hook, because I think there's a mix of danger and safety for each of us. That line goes in each of us. But something has been revealed here. There's an epiphany. And actually, I'm rather happy you've come here, of all places, to see it and reflect on it. The journey may have only been as far as Canning Vale to Cannington, but you made a journey to see something. The world's safety, the world's danger. And again, like the Magi, when you leave here, I hope in a figurative sense, you will be forced to travel by another road. Because you've been changed a bit. You've been changed a bit. This epiphany has led to a change of mind, a change of heart, through impressing upon you some aspect of the revelation. The guiding star brings you so far, and then the power of the epiphany moves inside of you as the Christ child is implanted there, as he breathes on us his spirit. Finally, the Archbishop of York in the UK, Stephen Cottrell, said at Christmas, the Christmas story challenges us to change the world, to challenge the order that sees the rich simply get richer while the poor are left to freeze, to challenge the order that refuses to pay a decent living wage for a decent day's work, all in the name of profit or efficiency. To challenge the order that suggests refugees and asylum seekers can't possibly be genuine. Danger and safety. But we'll end on the note of safety. But to go back to the core of it all, the Christ child is a gift of love, goodness, and joy. Love, goodness, and joy. Save the world. A gift, save the world. Yeah, mate. A gift for all of us. I finished with a verse from the hymn we opened with. Though an infant, now we view him. He shall fill his Father's throne. Gather all the nations to him. Every knee shall bend down. Come and worship Christ, the newborn King. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.